Well, as you see, I decided that using snow and freezing cold as a metaphor for the results of sin only went so far, and I'm now back inside in front of a great log fire, warming up as we look at number 5 in our series on the promise, God's everlasting covenant. This is entitled Children of the Promise, and that's you and me. We are all children of the promise because God makes the promise to everyone to come to him so that he can heal them. We're given material in Genesis, Isaiah, 1 Corinthians, 1 Peter and Matthew. And I invite you again to look at all that material to see what it's saying, particularly the whole idea of gaining an inheritance, a promise. Children of promise really goes back to the idea of Abraham saying, I don't really have an heir. I don't have a son to continue the line. How can I be the father of many nations, as you've promised there in Genesis 15 and 17 and 19 and so on? How can that be if I don't have a son and an heir? And that's what led to that idea of having a son through Sarah and her handmaid and the birth of Ishmael. And God says, no, that was not what I intended. The children of promise are the ones that I have decided. And Isaac is the first son of that promise that God made to Abraham. There's a lot of material that points us back to the Old Testament, obviously, as we think of this kind of agreement. But I want to think very especially about how this relates to us. And we're given in the New Testament by 1 Peter, in 1 Peter 2 verse 9, we are a specially chosen family, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people belonging to God. That's you and me. We are a people belonging to God. And the fact that we belong to God means that he then can truly relate to us as we respond. You can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. You found that in life, I'm sure. And as we respond to God, as we put ourselves into his hands and say, Lord, please heal me from all these desires that I don't like, my tendency to sin in various different ways. Please go in there and rewire it. That's what I like to say to myself. I want to be rewired. God, could you please remake me using the right connections? Because through sin, these have been damaged. I've damaged myself as a result. So maybe you also can pray that kind of prayer because you want to be a child of the promise. God's promise is, as we've seen before, for all time and includes you and me. Some quotes for this time I'd like to point you to. James 4, Faust. Hope is trust in God's promises. Faith that if we act now, the desired blessings will be fulfilled in the future. And then Charles Stanley. The scriptures contain many stories of people who waited years or even decades before the Lord's promises came to pass. What modern believers can learn from the patience of biblical saints like Abraham, Joseph, David and Paul is that waiting upon the Lord has eternal rewards as children waiting for the promise. And I do like that last one from William Carey. The future is as bright as the promises of God. Hold on to those promises. Think about them. Say, Lord, I want to be a child of your promise. All the promises you've given throughout the ages, I want most of all to have you in my life, changing me, making me into truly a good person that follows good because it is good, that follows right because it is right, to follow truth because it is the truth. Maybe you'll experience that kind of attitude, that kind of experience as we say to the Lord, you've called me a child of your promise. I'm calling on you to please fulfill your promises to me personally, individually. so that I can be home together with you for all eternity. What a wonderful hope we have. May we all be there.